Next award is one of great pleasure for us. In 1940, shortly after the discovery of oil in East Texas, this region was blessed that Magnolia Petroleum, a subsidiary of Mobil Oil, now ExxonMobil, moved Harvey Lavan Cliburn from Shreveport to their East Texas offices. Mr. Cliburn brought his wife, Hilda B. O'Brien Cliburn, and their young son, Harvey Lavan Jr., to build a life in this community. And build it they did. A native of Mississippi and a veteran of World War I, Mr. Cliburn served as the president of the Kilgore Rotary Club and had over 40 years of perfect attendance. He was a founder of the East Texas Treatment Center and a deacon at the First Baptist Church. Hilda B. was a wonderful musician and had a large studio of very talented pianists, one of whom included her son. In 1958, when Van won the International Tchaikovsky competition in Moscow, he became more than a world-famous pianist. He became a symbol of the international language of music and an ambassador for this country. It would take much too long to list his accomplishments, the accomplishments of Kilgore's favorite son, Van Cliburn. This occasion, the Diamond Jubilee of the East Texas Oil Field and the Silver Anniversary of the East Texas Oil Museum, provides Kilgore College with an opportunity to honor Van's father, to establish the Harvey Lavan Cliburn Memorial Scholarship. It will be awarded to a deserving student in a career related to the petroleum industry. And at this time, it is my distinct pleasure to invite our friend and favorite son, Van Cliburn, forward to receive this award in honor of his father.
How very thrilled my father would be today, because he loved Kilgore, Texas, as you cannot imagine. He always, when going to other Rotary clubs, would say that the masthead of the Kilgore News Herald read, "Kilgore, Texas, capital of the world's largest oil field." They thought he was a braggart, but then he reminded everyone Texans do like to brag. But after the great and sensational drilling and gushers, there was something to brag about. And we had so many wonderful people to find prosperity and success, but they also knew what to do with it. They had a vision for Kilgore. What did they first go to? Education. They built this wonderful Kilgore College, which has graduated so many fine, wonderful students. The East Texas field, the shelf, will be studied by geologists and geology majors for many decades and even centuries to come. When I was a very young person, I thought that probably I lived between two invisible marble pillars. One was visible, that was oil. The other was invisible, that was music. But you see, there's a very great and distinct relationship between the two. They are both physically demanding. You have to dig for it. If you're going to produce a sound, you have to dig for it. If you're going to produce oil, you have to dig for it. So they're very allied. It also means that you have to really concentrate and find a spiritual connection with what you're going to do. My father was a bit of a philosopher, and he was very thrilled when he was reading some of the ancient philosophers' writings, and he came across a line that has always been, ever since he told me about it, has always been very important to me. And that was, if you're looking for the ideal individual, it is a person who has the heart that thinks and a mind that feels. So when you have all of these facilities, that the abundance of petroleum, and I call it classic petroleum and classical music, you have something that has a great foundation in the lives and minds and hearts of so many people, because one does assist the other. It helps a child as they're going through school to have a passport to the invisible, wherein the creative imagination can be stimulated to great dreams, and so that very child can aspire to lofty endeavors. When I was a child, I had to know who Chopin was, as equally as I had to know who Daisy Bradford was. And I think that's terribly important, because each is a part of the other. And when we have our young people educated and stimulated to know that one success will feed the other success, which is spiritual, then we have accomplished something that is absolutely invaluable. My father confided in me that when he was young, he wished very much to be a medical doctor. Hence, all of his life, he had great concern, and he was so happy when he found his ability to coordinate with the men of this community in founding the East Texas Treatment Center, which helps so many young people. He was also a musician. He had studied music, and he knew how to read and write music. He played a woodwind instrument, and it was because of him he encouraged me to play the clarinet. And I played for 5 years in the Kilgore High School marching band. Now, I'll tell you one thing. I was not a great clarinetist. When I was 12 years old, he came to me and he said, "Sonny boy," I was always Sonny boy. "Sonny boy, I think it's time for you to learn the facts of life." And he said, "Now you come into the room." We sat down, and I did not know what to be prepared for. And he said, "I'll tell you, Sonny boy, it's called depletion allowance. And it's 27.5%. Now, he's gone. And the day the Congress rescinded that, I said to my mother, you know, I'm really kind of glad that Daddy's not here. But he's surely making revolutions in the grave. He had a great sympathy for young people and their struggles to go to school, and he was always so trying to aid and assist young people in their quest to go to school. That's why this scholarship is very meaningful to me, his son. Before my father died, the last words he ever spoke were to me. He said, "Hello, sonny boy. I love you. Look after mother." The expression in his face told me that all I had known, my mother was his only and great love for all of his life. My father was a very honorable man. He had incredible self-discipline. His integrity was beyond reproach. And if I say that knowing him as well as I did and being his child, you may believe me. But I think since I believe that he's looking down on us, I'm very, very happy that this day has arrived. The Diamond Jubilee of Oil, the wonderful tribute to this incredible oil museum. I believe what he would want me to tell you would be, thank you for this honor. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. But since he was very Texan and very sentimental, he would want me to tell you all, I love you.